Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to predict lead acting categories for October. We're in our post-festival era. Let's go to Best Actress, where I don't think we have a very clear frontrunner, and we have a lot of, potential nominees for that top 5 slots.
I think we do kind of have a clear frontrunner here. I don't see a better argument for anyone here than Mikey Madison. Honestly, the only other person I could see maybe a better argument for is Saoirse Ronan in The Outrun for winning. I think it's just kind of hard to do when Honora seems like it's encroaching on that Best Picture win.
But if Honora didn't win Best Picture, do you think that Mikey Madison would still win?
Probably. Yes.
It would probably remain top 2. It would probably still win screenplay.
I don't see who else I would put at number 1. That's my problem.
Yeah, I agree, because I get that Mikey Madison doesn't seem like a Best Actress winner. The performance, while it's great and everybody agrees that it's great, it's not really like a pure Oscar bait performance, although Mikey Madison is very different from the character. And when she gets out there in Q&As, you're like, wow, that is nothing like the character. That's good for her.
She's a fresh face. It's always harder to win an Oscar if you're a fresh face.
She'd be very young to win. And, again, she doesn't have the career momentum that other people in this category, some other people have. But I'm looking at the fact that there's this lack of a frontrunner. It's hard to see people getting behind one person. And so when you have a situation like that, look at the movie that's winning Best Picture maybe.
Or just the film that's closest to winning Best Picture.
It's not going to be that hard for her to have a consensus around her, is what I'm trying to say. If you polled most people on what they think the best performance of the year is, I think people who have seen a lot of film festival movies probably would aggregate around Mikey Madison, and you're going to see it at the critics groups.
I think it's easily the film that will win the most critic awards.
Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun, the performance, it definitely has its awardsy moments, but when I saw it, it didn't strike me as being the most Oscar baity, fishing for Oscar clips out of Saoirse Ronan in the way that a Still Alice or Judy or Eyes of Tammy Faye is. Yeah. Saoirse Ronan is looking like she's going to be the only nominee from this movie. It may be her 5th or 6th nomination, but I don't know. It's it's so purely that people would be getting behind it because they need Saoirse Ronan to win an Oscar now. And we've seen this fail. We saw this fail big time when Glenn Close didn't win, and she lost to somebody who was a first-time nominee. I even think that she is not a lock for a nomination by any means. I think she's mostly in it because she's Saoirse Ronan, and some people are kind of wondering if maybe she needs to win.
Well, she's also got Sony Pictures Classics behind her, and they're giving her a great treatment. They took her to Telluride, they gave her a tribute award there. They're keeping this conversation going where I'm seeing her name pop up. She's definitely on track for a nomination in my opinion, and she has usurped Amy Adams in Night Bitch, who is the other performer who's very overdue for an Oscar win, who the win narrative is just not going to come together for Night Bitch.
People are too divided on it. Yeah. And I honestly don't even know if she's going to get nominated. I think that she'll probably get SAG.
I've actually removed her from the top 5, even though I loved Night Bitch and I saw an Oscar performance in that film. And I kept her in after seeing it. That film just does not have the right buzz for me to feel confident about it. While I do think she will get SAG and Golden Globe, not even Critics' Choice. She won't get Critics' Choice. She won't get BAFTA.
She could maybe get Critics' Choice.
I'm not sure. I think she's a solid maybe. I guess the reason I took her out is really because I'm starting to believe more in Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, because I think it's something the Oscars just would do.
Well, Jean-Baptiste is going to have Golden Globe BAFTA combo. I think that by the time we get to the BAFTAs, it'll be like, oh shit, is she actually going to happen? Also, critics groups will probably go out for her.
I think she's going to win
Critics'
Awards.
Choice will go out for her, but if they did, I'd be like, damn, if you got Critics' Choice BAFTA, she's probably not going to get SAG, but she also has a great narrative. They keep bringing back the idea that her and Mike Lee have this long partnership. She is absolutely showy. The movie is 100% full of Oscar clips for her. My God. It is a well-liked film, but I don't see it as being an audience smash. Maybe the first 30 minutes kind of feels like that.
I also don't think it's going to do that well at the box office.
No.
It's Bleecker Street, and it's a specialty film.
Bleecker Street has never gotten an above-the-line nomination so far. I don't think that it would necessarily limit them. I mean, the strength of the film is that Mike Lee is behind it.
No, but you know what? It is a good point, because she does need a really strong campaign. If she had Searchlight or Sony Pictures Classics behind her, that would make me much more confident. Given the fact that the film has low visibility to begin with, it needs a really strong campaign.
Yeah, but the Oscars usually pay attention to Mike Lee films. Most of them get at least one nomination.
Well, were any of them done by Bleecker Street?
No.
Okay, there you go.
It's still Mike Lee. It's still somebody that the industry knows to look out for, and she's going to get a BAFTA nomination. That's not what I'm saying.
It gives me confidence that something like Parallel Mothers, even To Leslie, could get in. And that makes me think the Academy Awards are more likely than other places.
But what if Amy Adams in Night Bitch is just Annette Bening and Naiad, and nobody on film Twitter and Letterboxd is that hype on the movie, but she actually does get in.
That's a good point.
Because of her name, how many nominations she's gotten in the past. Annette Bening, though, she did get all the nominations except BAFTA. And Amy Adams, if she got everything but BAFTA, that would make her very tempting, although you can still miss with that. And Amy Adams might not even be the number 6 is the other thing that I'm going to say to you.
Like she could just be in there? She could be...
No, I'm saying Amy Adams might not even be the one that you're considering. Maybe Nicole Kidman is the one who you're thinking about. Does she get in? Because Nicole Kidman will probably get Golden Globe Critics' Choice, but... if she gets SAG on top of that, and maybe even BAFTA, either or...
That's the thing I think she would just miss. I don't know why.
My vibe is that the movie is kind of like a kinky thing. It's a kinky, amazing
fun ride, and she's fantastic. But
kinky, fun movies aren't Oscar bait. In the way that Challengers is not Oscar bait.
Not that I don't want every movie to be serious, but Baby Girl has a level of play and fun to it that perhaps will make people take that performance in that film overall less seriously. Totally unjustly, by the way. But that's why I'm not considering Nicole Kidman in the top 5 right now. I'm not saying it's impossible. I think she's a very strong contender, but we've got a lot of strong contenders here.
We have to talk about Angelina Jolie because a lot of people think she's going to win. A lot of people still think she's going to win. I completely reject this. Completely reject it. And I think... I'll make a prediction. If you think she's winning, you haven't seen the movie. First of all, the buzz on Maria, it is Netflix and they are going to push her, and I have her in for this reason. The performance is baity enough, but this is not a Judy. This is not Jessica Chastain, Tammy Faye.
It's just like Lorraine's other films.
It's a little stranger.
How many times do we need to say it? Natalie Portman and Jackie was stronger. Kristen Stewart and Spencer, I would say that was stronger too, although we didn't see the backlash.
They're going to win many more. What's Jolie going to win? Because the critics were going crazy for Spencer and
Jackie.
They're not going to go out the same way because Maria has lukewarm reviews. And
it's
not
more
even
forgettable.
It's not even as likable.
That's the problem. When I watched Maria, I was very locked into the performance. I thought everything Angelina Jolie is doing is fantastic, and she's doing enough that she could win an Oscar for it, but I'm not really thinking about the movie. There's not going to be a large conversation around Maria, I think, because not enough people feel passionately about it, and that's going to hurt Angelina Jolie, unfortunately. I think she's doing what people do to win Oscars, but that the film is just not the vehicle that's going to take her there. And again, just look at Lorraine's other films. Those had amazing performances. They were just as high caliber as this one. Those were even more acclaimed films.
What do you think she's gonna win? Do you think that
I think some critics will give her awards,
Critics'
but
Choice
nothing
is
major.
not even going to do it, even though they did Natalie Portman and Jackie. They're not even going to do this because they're going to go for Mikey Madison.
Well, wait, she could win the Golden Globe for drama. That's what she can win.
Okay.
See, I don't think she's going to win SAG, and she's not going to win BAFTA.
She's not going to win SAG. No.
Who's going to win the BAFTA?
Way.
Who's going to win BAFTA?
This is why Mikey Madison makes sense, because
she
doesn't even need to be specifically anybody's thing. It's just she can sweep if she needs to.
Maybe Baptiste could win BAFTA.
That's an interesting thought.
Maybe.
And the only precedent,
there's also
the only
Saoirse
precedent
Ronan.
you have is the actress from After Love,
when nobody else got nominated.
That's correct. That's why I think Mikey Madison might just make sense.
So Jolie could win Globe Drama. I think it's going to happen that she will win drama, and it won't matter.
What if they go for? Because
guess who else won Golden Globe Drama? Jackie. Natalie Portman won that, I think.
Nope, it was Isabelle Huppert.
Oh, Huppert, yes.
But that's why they could even go for something weird. What if they go for Jean-Baptiste or something crazy left field?
Hey, if Jean-Baptiste can win something like that, then she will definitely be in my top 5. That would be great for her. Could Carla Sofia Gascon win anything? I think her best shot is SAG, because she's competing with Mikey Madison at the Globes. I think they'll probably go with Mikey Madison. And SAG is where it could turn around for her. Because what if they love Amelia Perez? What if that wins SAG Ensemble? Though I don't think it's likely.
That is true. That I do think that Carlos Sofia Gascon can win at SAG. And SAG likes making history.
If they want to fuck the whole movie, it could happen. And look, people putting her below number 3, I don't understand. She's the only other person who's contending whose film is getting a Best Picture nomination guaranteed. It makes no sense to have her outside of your 5. It doesn't even make sense to have her outside of your top 3.
There are other people who I think are actually I don't even want to like distinguish this as like, oh, well, we hit like 6 and 7. Now let's go on to 8. It's like, bro, like you don't know that Fernanda Torres or Demi Moore could not pop up to be in the conversation for the nomination.
Oh, yeah, they could.
I've heard a lot about Fernanda Torres. Most people seem to come away from that film saying if she doesn't get an Oscar nomination, that's an injustice. Well, the movie is probably getting an international feature nom. It's been building some buzz. I've seen some people who think that maybe this movie can break into Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay. And are you sure? Like, I don't know.
I've seen it, and I just do not think so. Maybe I'm biased here, but I just didn't see what was that exceptional about it. I thought her performance was the best part.
I think that she will probably get Golden Globe drama.
Yeah.
But
I think she'll do well in award season in general.
I don't think she'll get into Critics' Choice because they're unadventurous. And she will not get SAG. But if the BAFTA throws her in, and I don't know that they will, because I think BAFTA's got to be beholden to nominate Jean-Baptiste and probably Ronan. Although she could be the number 6, or maybe Kidman, or like.
Oh no, she could get in.
She's a contender, or Swinton maybe.
I think Torres is going to play this award season. I don't know where exactly she'll get nominated, but I think critics groups will try to make her happen. And
but even when critics groups try to make her happen, like, I don't think that even necessarily makes her top 5.
No, I think she has to be winning awards, and I don't think she's going to win stuff.
She has to be like Sandra Hüller level.
I don't think it was there.
Or maybe you'd have to go back and say that the comparison is Central Station. I think Central Station, that the performance was more. I haven't seen I'm Still Here, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that was more undeniable, because that performance was crazy. Demi Moore, there's a Substance army that flooded our last predictions video saying that you guys are wrong and you're underestimating the substance, and Demi Moore is taking it. And I'm sure you're here, and I'm sure that you've already left your comment about how Demi Moore is getting nominated, if not winning. I appreciate that you're all Substance fans. I'm a fan too, believe it or not. Just because I don't think the movie's getting nominated doesn't mean that it's not one of my 5 favorite movies this year. All we're trying to do here is be realistic. It's reasonable to think that somebody in a lead performance in a horror film is not going to get nominated for an Oscar. But I also think you can make the case for The Substance, and I'll make the case for The Substance just in case I didn't make a good enough case for it in the last video, because I actually think it has a good case. First of all, for a horror film, the audience reception is exceptional. The movie's doing a good job being part of like the cultural zeitgeist right now, and I think that it will probably not fade too much by the end of the year, at least online. The Substance also has very relevant themes to Hollywood and the industry, and that will help. And Demi Moore has a fantastic career narrative to get her first nomination.
Yeah.
And the performance, it's daring, it's getting a lot of critical acclaim, and I think some critics groups will go out for her.
Yeah, the other thing about The Substance is it has a high nomination ceiling. So other horror films, I really can't think of that many nominations you could give them, but this one's so outstanding in terms of the crafts. But the reason I don't have The Substance in for Best Picture is because when you're a genre film, you have to be the best film of the year, and it has to be like a consensus. So Get Out, for example, the last horror film to see a Best Picture nomination, which, by the way, was like borderline horror, more of a thriller. That film transcended many barriers, and it was the #1 ranked critic film of the year if you aggregate all of the top 10 critics lists. I think The Substance will probably be like around number 10 for the most acclaimed and highest ranked film among critics this year.
It might be a little higher than that. It could be like number 7.
Yeah, like number 7 or 8. And that's great. It's great. But we have a genre bias here, everybody.
Silence of the Lambs, Get Out are like pretty much the only thing you could think of that got into Best Picture. And then there was The Exorcist, Jaws, like, but those movies were at the peak of the cultural conversation. The absolute peak. Also, it's absolutely disgusting. And it is also a body horror film, and even among the horror films that have been nominated for Best Picture, that's never happened. The fact that it's even in the top 20, that's your miracle, okay?
Yeah.
Demi Moore,
and it is in the top 20 for Best Picture.
It is, and she will have awards buzz, and I think she's in the top 10 for Best Actress.
We have to see critics go after this film like en masse and just relentlessly, and that's what it would take to get nominated. So we can all root for it, and I don't want to dismiss it because I think it could happen, and it's in my list. It's just waiting for that to happen. I need to see like a tsunami of fucking awards for this thing. So it's only in the interest of being correct that I have her in the top 10 but not in the top 5. Do you actually think Demi Moore could get nominated for SAG?
Yes.
So cause she could have Golden Globe and SAG. Because SAG is a younger voting block.
If Critics' Choice did it on top of that, that'd be very enticing. Lupita Nyong'o was nominated for Us at SAG as well.
There is actually a small chance she could be nominated, even if The Substance is not.
I have since become very tempted to actually put Demi Moore in, because if we break it down like this, she's getting Golden Globe because everyone's getting Golden Globe. She's getting Critics' Choice because they nominated Toni Collette in Hereditary and Lupita in Us. She's getting SAG because they nominated Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place and Lupita in Us. The reason I think that she'll be in the conversation is critics are going to hype her up. She has the best kind of narrative that you can have, which is this type of like, The Whale, Aronofsky-esque narrative where you're finally given the role of your career to really stretch your talents. Of course, this is all, assuming The Substance doesn't come along for Best Picture but stays in for Best Actress. It could also be true that The Substance comes along for Best Picture. That movie is inching closer to my top 10 by the day. It is possible that Demi Moore could get Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, and SAG and miss the Oscar because the Oscars are more biased than all these other groups when it comes to nominating horror performances. Missing at BAFTA would show that that's likely going to be the case. If BAFTA nominated her, then it's probably done. But yeah, Demi Moore, considering putting her in. I want to say that Amy Adams is getting SAG, and I also want to say that somebody like Kidman or Demi Moore could get into SAG. And then you'd have to say who's vulnerable, who could be taken out. Jolie's vulnerable, and Ronan's vulnerable for SAG.
Yeah.
Snubbing.
Yeah,
that's why I don't think that they're gonna win.
I might not predict Jolie for the SAG.
But Jolie makes sense. It's Netflix is campaigning, and they're going hard, and it's Angelina Jolie, and she's a fave. Kristen Stewart, you would have thought though, like the younger SAG like influencer actor, people would be like into that, but no. Spencer, they said
she got snubbed extremely hard.
Yeah,
she was number 2 when the nominations came out.
Like, we might be 3 out of 5 here for our top 5. I would not be shocked about that. Now, Arrivo for Wicked. It looks like the ticket sales for Wicked have been through the roof for the pre-sales. That movie's probably going to be a big smash at the box office. I think that Wicked is likely going to be considered pretty good by critics, but it's not going to break a 70 on Metacritic. It's Wicked Part 1.
Why can't it have
even the Broadway Wicked is not that acclaimed with critics. Audiences go really hard for that movie, critics don't. Maybe Arrivo gets like a SAG nom, and she's like an audience fave, but even like Margot Robbie for Barbie not getting nominated, I think there's your limit. I think she could be part of the conversation, but I think more likely Wicked contends in like 2 craft categories, and that's it. She's a contender. I don't know if she's number 10 or if like Tilda Swinton's higher than her.
Tilda Swinton, no, I think she's number 10.
Because The Room Next Door is like somewhat in the Best Picture conversation. And I don't know how she's gonna do though. Like, I think she'll show up at some critics groups, but I think she'll just do okay. Because she not like the best performance of the year.
She would have done really well in supporting actress. I don't think she's gonna thrive.
People thought that Penelope Cruz was like the performance of the year. Like, some people, that was it for them.
She cried a lot.
There are just other options other than Tilda Swinton for people who are into that more subtle performance. I don't see her being like the number one because you got Torres and Kidman and all these other people that I think are strong.
I think her only nomination is going to be Golden Globe. And that's because of the number of slots they have.
So she could get BAFTA also because she's British.
But I still don't think it would happen.
This is the interesting thing.
I don't think Room Next Door is going to do well at BAFTA.
Tilda Swinton, Baptiste, and Torres are like all kind of in the same position where they could get like just Golden Globe and BAFTA. At that point, you might have to tally up who has like the most critics.
Well, whoever can just get BAFTA will probably have Golden Globe as well because Golden Globe's
nominating everybody. They're going to have a little party this year.
I don't really believe in Tilda Swinton for Room Next Door. I don't believe in Room Next Door in general. I don't think there will be a lot of people trying to save Room Next Door from when it starts to underperform, starting with critics and then going all the way into the industry. I don't know who's going to start being like, man, we're really overlooking one of the best films of the year, because some people feel that way, but it's not enough to like garner the masses towards getting this film nominated.
But there's a history of Almodovar actors getting nominated in leads. And
yeah,
she's the
let me just say that I don't think this is as likely as those performances. I don't think the performance is as big, and I don't think there's as much of a narrative to get her nominated here.
If Challengers comes back in a big way, which I don't know what you think the odds are on that, but like, do you think that Zendaya could get nominated? I mean, there's technically room. Like, if Challengers is in picture, then there's only 2 actresses that we have right now, that most people have right now, that are part of Best Picture films. Maybe she could come back, and also she's never been nominated. That's the odds for that, is if Challengers makes a rebound.
Even if Challengers made a rebound, I don't know if she would get nominated for Best Actress. Robin Wright in here,
who knows? Absolutely
probably
not. Put Pamela Anderson above that.
Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl. I still don't think it's going to happen. I don't know who's going to nominate her. I don't even think she'll do that well with critics groups.
No, she won't.
Julianne Moore for The Room Next Door. I don't think she's
There's
doing a lot.
no chance she gets nominated over Swinton or
Yeah.
alongside her. So no.
Yeah. June Squibb is apparently like doing a little campaign for Thelma. That's nice, but it's not gonna happen.
Put her on the list because of SAG. There were like 2 Gold Area experts who think that she's winning.
What?
Yes.
Crazy.
But I do think there's a maybe shot for SAG. Let's go to Best Actor. We have like far less people to talk about. I feel like there are only maybe 7 people who are actually worth talking about here.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, if I had to rank all 4 acting categories and say who do I think is most likely to win for any category, I'll bet that Adrian Brody's gonna win over any of the acting categories.
That's right.
Honestly, I think the only wild card here, because I haven't seen it, is Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown. Again, because I haven't seen it. Brutalist is top 2. It might win Best Picture. It's very possibly just going to be the runner-up.
Even if it's like number 3, though. Even with people who are kind of lukewarm on the film or they have issues here and there, they're still voting for Brody. Like, he's so good. He's obviously the performance of the year. Obviously the performance of the year, honestly.
Well,
the
one of
them. No, I think he's...
What about Matt? People think that about Madison, too.
Well, I personally think he's the best lead performance of the year. The argument that, well, he's already won, like, we're going to give it to somebody new. This doesn't fly. Like, this died last year. Emma Stone won her 2nd Oscar very early in her career over a Lily Gladstone. And then there was that year where McDormand won her 3rd Oscar over Viola Davis's first lead, over Carey Mulligan's first. Anthony Hopkins wins his 2nd over Chadwick Boseman. Like, the narrative is not everything. Sometimes they just go, look, I'm voting for who I think is the best and the most powerful performance. And to me, Adrian Brody is just that Titanic level performance in this movie that is just obviously going to go people going, yep, him.
Also, in all of those races you mentioned, it matters that they really like your movie.
Yeah.
So it matters if your film is like Best Picture or runner-up to Best Picture. The Brutalist, as far as we know at this point, is the closest to Best Picture. That alone should make you think, okay, well, you know, is this guy got the stuff to win? Because if he does, then I should just put him in. And he does. He completely owns the movie. He's fantastic.
Every scene is an Oscar clip.
Every scene's an Oscar clip. Like,
he's never been better. He's better than he was in the Oscar-winning performance. Remember what they said about Emma Stone?
The Pianist,
they said, Poor Things is Emma Stone's best performance. And she already won something for La La Land, so they were like, well, I guess we have to give her another Oscar.
Yeah,
right?
And they said that about Anthony Hopkins, too. They were like, that's his best performance.
Yes, and this is true about Adrian Brody. It's also nice because he hasn't been nominated in a long time. He's never even had... I don't even know what his biggest role is.
He kind of disappeared for a while.
Aside from Wes Anderson
movies, yeah.
I don't really know what else
he's very charismatic. He's talking about how this was the role of a lifetime for him, and he gets to make a full circle with The Pianist. Now, that's a nice little narrative if you want a narrative for you. Number 2, I know people are like screaming about Ray Fiennes winning his first Oscar, and a lot of the trades are doing this. Like, they're unanimously seem to be getting behind Ray Fiennes winning the Oscar. But I actually think Coleman Domingo is ahead of Ray Fiennes. And I'll tell you why. I think he has a clearer path to a win. And that is, on the off chance that Sing Sing makes a comeback, is the feel-good movie of the year, and takes Best Picture. The reason I think that still could maybe happen is because Anora and The Brutalist aren't like impossible to take down for me. They're pretty strong, and I still have Sing Sing below those 2 films, but our buddy Matt Neglia from Next Best Picture went to an Academy screening of Sing Sing recently, reported great things. The cast came. They did what we've been saying is going to work all year long. They do these little isolated screenings. They bring out the cast. People give them a standing ovation, long applause. They absolutely ate up the room. So it's not impossible still that Sing Sing could have this underdog comeback narrative, but I'm not going to say at this point that it's more likely.
People who think we're insane for that, I just want to remind you, first of all, that Coda was like considered to be number 12 for Best Picture at this point in the year. Even if Sing Sing was going to win Best Picture and it won like SAG Ensemble, though, I still think Adrian Brody will win Best Actor.
Really?
And that Clarence Macklin might be the one who goes along with the film.
That's very possible. I think if Sing Sing leaped over The Brutalist, Clarence Macklin would be winning awards. Coleman Domingo would give Adrian Brody a run for his money, but maybe he wouldn't beat him.
Well, I guess you could say it's SAG, maybe, but honestly, Coleman Domingo is very good in Sing Sing, but it's not as Oscar baity of a performance.
Oh, it's like pretty Oscar baity.
Oh, it's not, because it's not transformative.
Yeah, Adrian Brody is doing an accent the whole time. He's
like just like
a thick Polish accent,
and the crying and
No, but look, I don't want to undersell it. Like, Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing is absolutely fantastic, and it's easily.
I know, but it doesn't fit with like the type of performances that win Best Actor and how damn showy.
I disagree. It's very showy. He owns the movie. He galvanizes the whole cast. I think it is the kind of performance that could win an Oscar. again, but I think would have to see Sing Sing winning Best Picture. It would be that kind of thing.
I agree that he's higher than Ralph Fiennes because he has a good career narrative. He's long overdue. This is his third nomination. But the performance, I mean, have you seen it? Like, it is maybe the most muted that he's been. It's excellent. I'm very happy that he's getting nominated. He deserves it. It does not scream win. He doesn't have like a big Oscar clip.
That's the thing. I think people are putting too much stock in the whole he hasn't won an Oscar yet. And if you take that out of the equation and you have Brody and Fiennes, I think it's obviously Brody. I don't know how you can't even make the argument without the career narrative. I don't think you could find me anybody who would say Brody's performance isn't more showy than Fiennes.
Timothée Chalamet, complete unknown. Is there a world where this movie comes out, smashes at the box office, boom, Rami Malek 2.0? Oh, Timothy's got the career narrative because he's been carrying films like Wonka and Dune, and they've been doing really well, and he's a really big star right now. Do we really watch the trailer and think, oh my fucking God, he looks so amazing, he's going to win an Oscar?
I could see, my prediction is a lot of people are going to complain about the performance. Like, they're not going to be totally able to get into it, but that most people will think he's very good and he will get a nomination. He'll be just fine. I don't think it's going to be a win conversation. I don't know who would give him the win. Who would it be?
I just don't think that Bob Dylan is as eccentric as Freddie Mercury and I mean, that's not even up to debate.
Like, I don't think he would win Critics' Choice. I don't think he would win BAFTA. I guess maybe he wins SAG. I don't know. We haven't seen the goddamn movie. Like, we have this performance from Adrian Brody. It's the Oscar performance that I see and I go, that's gonna win. Why would I go, actually, I'm gonna go take the mystery box choice? There's too many unknowns, just like the movie's title. Yeah. Why would I risk it? I'm trying to be right here.
So for the fifth slot, most people think this is between Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, Daniel Craig for Queer, and some people have Paul Mescal for Gladiator 2, and I don't think that's insane.
No, I think that's reasonable at this point.
No, those are the only performances that are not insane to have in your top 5.
The Apprentice is out, by the way. You can see it. You probably did not even see it because it did actually really poorly at the box office. It did not come up as expected. It made $1.5 million over the weekend.
And it was in wide release, keep in mind.
It was in very wide release.
Yeah.
Obviously, every film gets the chance to redeem itself in the second weekend, see if it has any legs. But, like, this thing is not going places. It is not going places.
I think ultimately it's not that great of a sell that people wanted to spend a whole movie with Donald Trump as a character.
I was wrong because I made the prediction that people would be interested based on the subject of the movie, and people were not interested in this. It also didn't have an amazing marketing budget either.
I think that people might check it out on streaming, but everybody knows that Sebastian Stan's great in it. And it's undeniable, and it's a big showy performance. It's someone who's in makeup, in a biopic. Like, it really does check all the boxes. I think it's just that people might be a bit repelled to the movie. Even though the Academy is into stuff like Vice,
I see it as an uphill battle at this point. The Apprentice did not go the way I thought it was going to go in terms of the box office, and I'm having trouble seeing a streaming life for it because the streamers aren't going to want to touch it for the same reason they didn't want to distribute it. Maybe the Academy screenings go well, but I'm less confident in him now than I was at any other point this year.
Daniel Craig for Queer, he does feel kind of like an Andrew Scott and All of Us Strangers type of thing. But then again, maybe Andrew Scott would get nominated this year. It would be one of the stranger films to secure a lead acting nomination. It really, really would be. And this movie is going to be an absolute flop as well. I don't see the box office prospects here, and the movie cost probably an embarrassing amount for the studio to admit. Also, A24, like, a lot of their movies have been absolutely flopping. Like, A Different Man did so poorly.
Well, it didn't really get a big push from them either.
That's the thing that I'm concerned about with Queer as well.
I think it's a really good movie. I think his performance is great. I would love to see him nominated, but it's a real question mark.
But he's also not going to, like, win critics groups, I don't think. I think he'll be nominated a lot of places because the options aren't that plentiful. And so you'll see him get in the top 5 at probably most critics groups. I think he'll remain in the 5. They'll like it more than The Apprentice probably. He'll probably get Golden Globe, BAFTA. I mean, he's British, so that even helps. And they have 6 slots as well.
Maybe.
He probably will make it into the Critics' Choice 6, and he will probably miss SAG for, I don't know, that's actually a good question. Who do you think he would miss SAG for? Because, I mean, I'm pretty confident that he's going to miss SAG. It just seems like that. Maybe Sebastian Stan does get SAG, or Paul Mescal for Gladiator 2, unless he's just, Tom Cruise, Top Gun Maverick. Jarrell Jerome for Unstoppable.
Maybe he could get a lone SAG nomination.
Anyway, Daniel Craig's performance in the movie, it's very layered. it's showy in a sense. People do want to see Craig celebrated for a very serious, dramatic role, and people know that he's capable of a lot as an actor, and I think that probably will carry through and help him. But it is not as baity as I think some expected early in the year.
Yes.
But it is still showy, so I think there's something there. And Queer is not even close to any other nominations. It really is not even close to anything else is the thing.
I've been reticent to consider Paul Mescal for Gladiator 2 because I've had the sense that it's a performance that even if the film were nominated for Best Picture, would not carry into Best Actor. I don't know exactly why I've had this feeling, but now is the time to really consider whether this could happen because I'm kind of out of other options, and
he's probably the SAG nominee.
If I think Gladiator 2 is in Best Picture, maybe this is the most likely thing to happen. It's just kind of it's just strange for an action movie performance to get that level of acclaim. So, I mean, what else is there? Nicholas Hoult for Juror Number 2. I kind of want to consider this, but there are some rumors that Warner Brothers is not going to push this film very hard for awards, which is sort of strange because it's like you could have a Best Actor campaign if you really wanted it. Like, you may as well try.
From the trailer, I don't see how he is going to be Best Actor material.
I don't really see it either, but even you may as well. But again, you may as well try. Sebastian Stan in A Different Man, another Sebastian Stan performance.
There's no way this happens anymore. The movie did not get put out in enough theaters, and a lot of people didn't see it, and it just kind of came and went. Unfortunately, is a very good movie, and
but critics could try to revive it because critics also they have to negotiate with 5 slots.
I'm just saying they're going to put him in. They could put him in sometimes, and he will not get nominated.
What will critics groups do? That's so interesting. What even will they do? I guess they'll do Daniel Craig.
Do you think Glenn Powell from Hitman could make any kind of comeback just because it's so weak?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though, and a lot of streaming movies have this problem where when they play at festivals, people are like, "Hell yeah, that was awesome! I love that." So fun. And then when they come out on streaming, people are very muted about them. This happened with Hitman. I think that this happened with It's What's Inside as well. If people saw it in theaters, I think they would like it more. And it happened with Glass Onion last year. Hitman just doesn't have the excitement to get an Oscar nom, even though some people I see are flirting with adapted screenplay. Although, Glenn Powell, like, to be fair, there's a decent case that he could win Golden Globe. Just because
he could get pushed by Netflix. Netflix might decide this is a film worth campaigning just for that actor nomination. They have the budget for it, and the movie did well on Netflix.
If he wins Golden Globe comedy, though, like, that could even give him a push alone. It could be such a campaign for him.
Oh, yeah. If he wins Golden Globe comedy, I think everybody's going to have him at 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Yeah, immediately.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Immediately.
Because everyone knows that the competition wasn't there, though. The only other person I think makes any sense is like Gabriel LaBelle. Or maybe Sebastian Stan for A Different Man could win Golden Globe comedy.
I think there's a possibility for a Glenn Powell and Hitman resurgence. That was a really good performance. It was very fun, very versatile. His best performance so far.
Yeah, it's definitely an outside shot, though, to be clear.
Well, everything kind of looks like an outside shot.
That's why I think that we're not actually going to be maneuvering past this top 7 very much.
John David Washington, Piano Lesson, that's so low that I might take it out. I should probably just take it out.
I don't think it's there. It's just not there. Tom Hanks for Here is done.
Well, the movie hasn't happened yet. So
what do you think about Andrew Garfield?
We gotta leave Tom Hanks in Here in because it hasn't happened yet.
I'm gonna murder.
We gotta leave it in. We have to. We're just getting crazy here because we're allowed to. What if Eisenberg in A Real Pain does well with critics?
Absolutely. He's not going to do that well with critics. I'm telling you that right now. He is being seen as a filmmaker for this movie. He is campaigning as a filmmaker. And Kieran Culkin is eating all the acting awards. Like, that is just it.
Now, what about Andrew Garfield in We Live in Time? I mean, I didn't see that movie yet. I have to see it this weekend.
I don't think so. I just don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Jesse Plemons' Kinds of Kindness. Now, because it's so barren in Best Actor, maybe some people would argue that Jesse Plemons can make a comeback, and maybe some critics will try to do it, but I still think that, like, Kinds of Kindness wasn't even that well liked of a movie, and it's not like his best performance either.
Jesse Plemons right now has the best shot for Kinds of Kindness than I've thought at any point in the year.
Oh, it's not happening.
Even after I saw the movie, I was like, "There's no way this could get nominated."
And trust your instincts, bitch.
So who would you have in the top 5? Is it Craig?
It's Craig for now.
Even though Sebastian Stan has the baitiest performance, I think The Apprentice has a weird reputation, and I'm going to switch to Daniel Craig as well. Daniel Craig, at least he has that career narrative.
Those are lead acting predictions. Stay tuned for more October predictions. If you want to support the channel and you want more content, join our memberships. It's $2 a month, and we put out multiple videos a week talking about various topics relating to the Oscars.
Just recently, we asked the question, do the critic top 10 lists matter and do they correlate for Best Picture? So we did a bit of a deep dive on that. Consider joining the channel. And if you're not making your predictions on Award Expert, you're just being unreasonable. It's the best place to store your predictions. We both use it. It's completely free. And you can add your friends there. You can follow your friends. I'm going to be putting out a lot more features closer to awards season this year that I'm really excited about.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Do you have any wild card guesses for the number 5 slot?